Baconsale. James Baconsale.
I miss Sean Connery.
We all miss Sean Connery.
Who's Sean Connery?
Aw, he's retired
Get out.
now.
Isn't he the guy
Get
that
out.
almost played Dumbledore?
No, what?
Oh, no, Gandalf.
Sean Connery is Dumbledore?
Oh, Gandalf.
It was Gandalf,
Wait a
yeah.
minute. No, that doesn't make any sense.
Fact checkers are already going crazy.
Yeah.
It's Gandalf.
Welcome, listener, to Baconsale. I'm Joel.
I'm Kent.
And Jacob.
Just so you know, in case you hadn't tuned in, we released a Bacon Bit, our first ever Bacon Bit on Friday. We decided we were going to review the new James Bond movie Spectre, and so we figured we could just talk about that in a very short amount of time. We still ended up going almost a half hour.
Yeah.
But if you haven't listened to it yet, go back, listen to it. The first 10 minutes are spoiler free, so you can go ahead and listen to that there.
Yeah, but the show's still long, and because that's what we do.
Yes, but this is our regular show.
And so we're going to talk about Bond for a long time now.
Bond. James Bond.
And I really hope we get some Sean Connery Limp Bizkit lyrics.
What show was that?
Who knows?
That was the Spy versus Spy.
Yeah, that was Spy versus Spy versus Spy. That was the Bond, Bourne, and Hunt, which we have talked about James Bond on the show before. But seeing as how when by the time you're listening to this, Spectre has come out.
Yeah.
We wanted to talk about James Bond in particular. Jacob?
Oh, yeah, sorry. I thought I was going to segue pretty naturally there, but apparently you got it.
Who are you? Are you?
Oh, you can hear me now, huh? Yeah, that's a good point. I'm going to bring out again.
Can you turn him down?
Yeah, that's what Ken had been doing before, but then I got a mic that overrides.
No, seriously, I'm watching the levels right now, and I've never seen your voice before.
Yeah. So for anyone that noticed before I sounded like I was far away from the mic, it's actually because there was something wrong with the mic. Now, it was a good professional mic. I don't know what was going wrong with it, but I have a new one, and that's why I sound better. Not because of Kent actually turning down my levels when no one's looking.
Louder's not better.
Just kidding. That's what happened. So what we're going to talk about today is the current state of Bond, the Bond franchise, specifically Daniel Craig.
Is that just going to happen the entire show?
It has to.
Well, he only did half the line. I'm sitting here waiting for the rest. He just says Bond.
Bond. That's all you need to say.
That's it.
Seems like something else is coming, but nothing's being said. So, all right. Yeah, we're going to talk about the current state of Bond, Daniel Craig, how he's done with the franchise. Is the franchise over with him? Are we going to move to a new one? We don't know. And also, we're going to hear some pitches, actually just one pitch from both Joel and Kent on a Bond movie they would like to see.
Yeah, we're going to talk about the present of Bond and the future of Bond.
That's right.
We'll leave the past of Bond to another show.
That's right.
Will we? Okay.
Oh, also, I have 3 different actors they'd like to see play Bond.
Yep.
So basically, we're going with the assumption that Daniel Craig will no longer be Bond,
well,
right?
do you want to explain why? Kent, do you want to explain why we think this?
It's because they said he had to make another one, and they just found him in his bathtub with his wrist slit.
No, stop.
Too soon.
Ouch.
For whatever Daniel Craig might have done.
Can you give us a more sane reason?
Yeah, so, okay. Many people have played James Bond, right? Daniel Craig has now played him 4 times. Which you're kind of thinking, hey, I bet your time is just about up.
Which I found out was actually, he tied Pierce Brosnan with this one, but he's still Moore apparently has the most appearances.
Is Moore 7?
I think he's 7. No, he's 6.
Because Connery, I feel, is 6.
I thought Connery...
Or 5 with an unofficial movie.
I'm feeling like you should have looked this up before.
I did. But I've got so many Bond facts in my head.
I hate that you have a mic now.
Yeah. But no, so with Connery's unofficial Never Say Never Again, he ties Moore, if I remember right, from what I was reading before. But yeah.
And then poor George Lazenby.
Yeah. He got one, thought he was famous, went around the world, came back and found out he'd been replaced.
With Sean Connery.
Yes. With Sean Connery again.
That's hilarious.
Okay, but Daniel Craig, he's expressed concern with the role before, and not all of his Bonds have been received so well.
Really gentle way to say that.
But now he's almost like Joss Whedon with the Avengers 2 press tour. Because remember, Joss Whedon was like, yeah, I sure would like to do my own project again. Sure would like to have some creative control. I think I'm going to quit Hollywood for a while, that sort of thing. Like, he just expressed exhaustion.
Fact check.
Yes.
Roger Moore has 7, Sean Connery has 6, but the unofficial Never Say Never Again makes him tied at 7.
Okay. Cool. So Daniel Craig is on the press tour, and he's talking to timeout.com. And he said some things that kind of surprised a lot of people, especially for a movie that you're supposed to be excited about, right?
Quotes.
Okay. Yay, quotes. So the first thing he says, and they say, hey, what do you think about playing James Bond again? Because remember, he has one more Bond movie on his contract.
So wait, at what point in the timeline is he in the middle of filming right now? Is he just finished filming?
1 month ago.
He's done with filming. Yeah.
Okay.
So he's on a press junket. He's probably a little drunk. He's definitely a lot tired.
Yeah.
And he says, I'd rather break this glass and slash my wrists. He says, no, not at the moment. Not at all. That's fine. I'm over it at the moment. We're done. All I want is to move on. And they're like, oh, could you clarify? Because you still have another movie. Like, are you really done for good? Because they just kept asking me. He says, I haven't given it any thought. For at least a year or two, I just don't want to think about it. I don't know what the next step is. I have no idea. Not because I'm trying to be cagey. Who the family-friendly knows? At the moment, we've done it. I'm not in discussion with anybody about anything. If I did another Bond movie, it would only be for the money.
Well, and he did. He clarified those comments, and he put it in a very good perspective.
He says one more thing that I've got to say. Because, there you're being like, so are you just like a typical Hollywood actor that is really just doing it for the money? Which, yes.
If they didn't do it for the money, they'd be doing indie films.
Yes. And, look at Skyfall. It made so much money, and I'll get into that in just a little bit. But he should be paid a lot of money for what he does and what he brings to the franchise, because these are the most successful Bond movies
ever. So you
ever.
have one more quote, right?
So they say, there are a lot of people who want to play James Bond. For example, Tom Hardy said, yep, I'd play him.
Well, who wouldn't?
Yeah, who wouldn't really? Idris Elba. Yeah, I'll play him. So they said, what do you think about all these other people that want to play James Bond if you step away right now? And he says, I don't give a family friendly.
I like that.
Good luck to them. All I care about it is that I stop doing these things we've left. And he says, these things we've left it in a good place, and people pick it up and make it better. Make it better. That's all. Because you can tell he's not really satisfied with this series, because even though his series is kind of changed from like the Sean Connery, everything is a innuendo, he still says that Bond is a straight up misogynist. Which, the character is historically. That's
kind of the character. I mean, he's a womanizer by nature.
Times have changed. There is a progressive movement.
Not in MI6.
Not in MI6.
No, by the way, pop quiz. You guys want to guess how much Daniel Craig was paid to be in Spectre?
I want to hear.
Any ballpark figures?
$5
million, you said?
Yeah.
You want to put a guess out there?
Is it not a percentage?
No, it's a dollar amount.
It's a dollar amount. $12 million.
Reportedly, Daniel Craig's salary on this movie is allegedly 25.4 million pounds, which equates to about $39 million, making him the highest ever paid actor to portray James Bond.
So
what he needs is more money. I see why he wants to do another one.
I'm just doing it for the money.
He's like, apparently this was also...
I need another $30 million, $39 million.
Apparently this went way over budget, and it was a $300 million budget. Second most expensive movie ever made is what it says here. I don't know.
I think they're okay with, because Skyfall made so much money. I actually have the number.
Let the sky fall.
I'm not going to mention that movie by name anymore.
I'm going to warn you, there's going to be trigger words this whole time.
Safe words? Can we have a safe word?
It's a trigger word.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So Skyfall made $1.1 billion. Go
ahead, say Sam Smith.
No, I will not say Sam Smith.
How do I know?
Now go higher.
For like 2 days.
For those who haven't
Joel has been attempting to sing the Spectre theme song, Writings on the Wall.
Yeah, by OK Go. The writings on the wall. It seems like forever since we had
Which I actually like Sam Smith's song. And I think you're coming to, right?
It has grown on me.
Well, in the 100 times that you've sang it, I'm sure it has.
It's because every time I hear him sing it, I hear me sing it.
But, I think they're okay, going back to, Spectre and everything, they're okay financing this movie because, hey, it's $300 million, we're going to make a whole lot more than that.
Some estimates actually go to $350 million, like it ballooned up.
It's a lot of money.
It went over budget, so, yeah. Kind of insane.
I'm sure it'll make it back.
Oh, yeah.
Probably this weekend.
No,
so,
definitely.
Did you already get done with all your quotes? All your facts?
Well, I have all my quotes until he kind of retracts everything he says.
Well, because I wanted to bring that up. I wanted to bring that side of it. That he did clarify his comments, and I have to say, when he said this, it made sense to me. Because when I heard the first one, he's like, I'd rather slash my wrist than play Bond again. I'm like, dude, you're James Bond. But he comes off and says, if you're 200 yards from the end of a marathon and someone comes running up to you and says, are you going to run another marathon? There's two words you use, and not on a morning show,
Family friendly.
Lauer. And so I really get that. It's like after you're done with it, you're like, I just need a break. Like, You just feel like Joss Whedon at the end of Avengers: Age of Ultron, where you're like, I just need to walk away.
Need to quit Twitter for a while.
Yeah.
No, I mean, it took Daniel Craig 8 to 9 months to film Spectre. Like, it's a long time for an actor.
A lot of different locations, a lot of taxing shots. I'm assuming it was very action
he
heavy.
got injured on the set.
Well, yeah, his fight with Batista, is that his name?
Yeah.
Like, it was like, I read this headline, it said, the secret to making a fight scene look real, actually hurt each other. Because apparently they both sustained injuries from that train scene, yeah. Because they were going at it.
Well, and he's not a spring chicken. He's 47, I believe.
Oh, so in Jake's eyes, he's like ancient.
Exactly.
Yeah, he's ancient.
He's an old.
No,
But he said it's very
he's
hard to
basically in
stay
a retirement home.
Well, because, he
I can't wait to watch those movies.
He has his shirt off for a lot of this movie, and he said it's frustrating to have to stay in shape. Well, opening credits.
Oh, yeah.
I remember that.
Don't say it that way.
So how could I forget?
Yeah, apparently Daniel Craig is frustrated, and he's not the only one.
Yeah.
The singer of
I'm not the only one.
The singer of the song. Who sang the theme song again?
A guy with a nice falsetto voice.
Say it.
No,
Sam
I will
Smith.
not.
Sam Smith actually said, I've only sang the song once, really. I did the demo in the studio, and they used it. It's horrible to sing. Horrible. I almost regret. No, I don't regret. It's just so high. It's awful.
So I love how you read this, what Daniel Craig said, then what Mr. Smith said, and then you... No!
It's a shortened version because he only said half of his name.
Okay. And you walked into this movie like, it's going to be terrible because, well, Joel, you've been pretty vocal about your dislike for the Daniel Craig series.
I feel like, I've said this before, that I feel like they're trying to make him more Bourne, and I want my Bournes and my Bonds separated.
But you don't even like Bourne.
No, I like Bourne. I just don't love Bourne.
See, I think they've done enough to separate it because, like, Casino Royale is not Bourne-like at all. It's very clean.
No.
It's a crisp movie.
What?
There's parkour in the beginning, which is incredible.
The
but
gritty
also
fight scene in the bathroom.
Also filmed
forever.
very well. But, like, much of the movie is just, like, sitting in deliberation and dialogue. Mm-hmm. And that's not a Bourne movie at all.
It's a boring movie. Zing.
Except it's not.
It's not. It's actually, I like Casino Royale probably
I
second.
like how you took that back immediately.
Yeah.
Because you actually can't hit on Casino Royale. Like, there's not a ton to it, but it's decent. It's well made.
Who sang that theme song?
Chris Cornell.
Yeah. Good job. Okay, moving on. I'm not going to sing that one.
I will.
Go for it.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Black hole sun, won't you come?
That's not the Bond
Getting
theme
just
song.
mixed up.
Casino Royale.
But
You Know My Name?
yeah, it's You Know My Name.
Yeah.
It's a great
You Know
song.
My Name.
I'll bring this up, though, because I feel like this movie, Spectre, was the culmination of all the movies we're not going to do spoilers here, so rest assured we're not going to talk too many about spoilers. But I feel like that was the culmination of the 3 previous movies. Like, it's not what's a trilogy that's made of 4 movies? A quadrilogy?
Yeah.
And because it seems kind of final in the end.
Yeah. So
And I don't know where the Bond franchise can go with this.
Well, it's
number
almost
25.
like you almost can't one-up it because James Bond takes on Spectre, who has been watching him, haunting him his entire espionage career.
Right.
And then it's like, hey, I think I've stopped you. And then what do they do in the next movie? Just some guy who's a warlord.
But
Yeah.
do admit that I was getting tired of the big long story arc in the James Bond movies, how they all connected with one another.
Well, a little bit of history for this. So they made Casino Royale. They did the whole Vesper Lind story where she died, and it kind of tortured him.
Spoiler alert for 2006. 2006. When would that come
It's
out?
2006, I think. So she died, and it haunts Bond because she is the one Bond girl who basically had an impact. I mean, he got married in the past, whatever.
Right.
But
she didn't count.
and then
That meant nothing.
Oh.
Eva Green, that's where it's
this
at.
wild weekend with Vesper Lind. So Quantum of Solace was made as the second part in a trilogy where it was kind of like, I'm going to hunt down essentially Spectre. And they call it Quantum or Solace. Something really stupid, right? It's where he goes to the opera house and he meets the group for the first time.
Yeah.
And it was meant to just, be like, I'm going to set this up for a big finale. But nobody liked Quantum of Solace. In fact, Daniel Craig was even like, maybe I don't want to do this role anymore. And the filmmakers were like, readjust. And they made Skyfall.
Let the sky fall.
I'm going to murder you during this show. Which they're like, you know what? We're going to leave that story behind. We're sorry for everyone that wanted the conclusion. It's concluded. Now we're just going to do this new Bond story. And what they've done with Spectre is said, Yeah. We're going to go with the original trilogy ideas in Skyfall and connect them somehow.
So you think that you can't really skip over Quantum of Solace though when they reference it in Spectre, right?
They do.
So have you actually researched what you're saying, or is this just kind of speculation?
This is over the years watching the series.
Kent rants.
No, I'm just wondering if this is based on something he's found out.
No, this is me. I mean, I go to movie sites, a lot of movie sites every day.
Like 6 hours a day.
Yeah, 6 hours a day here at work. And,
do you have a job?
Maybe. And so just over the years, I've kind of watched the progression here. And it's just interesting to see where it kind of ended up. Mm-hmm. Because, I like the Daniel Craig series. I think Quantum of Solace is an incredibly weak movie. But, I mean, 2 out of 4 ain't bad for a James Bond.
Sorry, I just had a revelation.
Yes, or Meatloaf.
Do you know who Daniel Craig is married to?
Yeah, Rick Weiss.
I didn't know that.
I only found that out like a few weeks ago and was shocked.
I was looking up James Bond wife. By the way, her name's Teresa or Tracy Bond from On Her Majesty's Secret Service. But then I suddenly saw him and Rachel Weisz together. I had no idea. Sorry to interrupt.
No, you're good. They were in Dreamhouse together with Naomi Watts.
I haven't seen that one yet.
I haven't been that shocked since I heard you sing Sam Smith.
Stay with me.
So, do you think that Craig is going to be in for it for 25? Or do you think he's going to be able to get out of his contract?
I'd like votes from both of you. Is this the last one? Or is there another one?
Based on the end of this movie, and I'm definitely keeping this spoiler free.
Now we're saying, like, your expectation, not your desire here.
It seems like everyone knew, even during the filming, that he was tired. And so they kind of gave him an out either way. Like, if this is his last Bond adventure, then good. He's wrapped it up well. Mm-hmm. I think he'll be back.
That's your vote?
Yes.
All right, Joel?
I think so, too. I think this one's going to do well. He's going to want to make up for the comments he made. He's going to get one more in. I think it's going to be a standalone, maybe with some references, but I think he's got one more in him. I'm not very happy about that.
I'm voting against you guys just because.
Okay, so let the future people who are listening to this show, you can see how wrong Jacob is. Well, when Bond 25 comes out in 2 years.
It's interesting because every news site, especially in the UK, is like, they've been planning to have another Bond for about 7 years now. Mm-hmm. They keep saying, who's going to play the next one? Who's going to play the next one? And everyone has their favorites. But he just keeps coming back because, they offer him £40 million.
Oh, my gosh.
And
$40 million.
$40 million. And he takes it because,
he's not insane.
He's not insane, and he's profitable.
Well, everyone needs a paycheck.
No, it's true. And Daniel Craig, I mean, he wasn't in a ton before this movie, at least well-known stuff. Mm-mm. I mean, he's in Layer Cake.
No, he's not.
I knew him as a jerk from The Power of One. Do you remember that movie?
The Tomb Raider sequel.
Wow, I didn't even know he was in that.
Yeah, he's a jerk Nazi in that one, and that's kind of how I've portrayed
What a jerk Nazi.
As opposed to all the nice Nazis out there.
Yeah.
But yeah, he didn't have much going on for him, and truthfully, I don't know if he's going to have much after this. But the role of James Bond is pretty powerful. However, I can't think of many people, aside from Sean Connery, who went on to have successful careers post-Bond.
Yeah, no, I think Daniel Craig might have the staying power with like indie films. I don't know.
I don't know. Well, Pierce Brosnan had a pretty good career before and after a little bit too.
And they tried to get him before. But, I mean, the contracts for Bond are kind of insane. Like, they're not allowed...
Do you know anything about him?
Well, I mean, just like, for example, like, Pierce Brosnan was... I remember he was not allowed to appear in a tuxedo in any other production.
So he's in Remington Steele, which is a TV show. He's a spy.
Back in the 80s when they had TV on TV.
Kind of strange, right? Not Star Trek on CBS.com.
Another show.
Yes. So, he's on this TV show, which is similar to Bond, and basically he couldn't get into Bond because of this TV show, which was Diet Bond.
It was.
And he couldn't really appear to be like a Bond character.
I mean,
I agree.
He's a little more foolish in that one, which I liked, but yeah.
More foolish than the actual Brosnan Bond movies?
Touche.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which I do think, and this is just something I want to throw out there, even though we're not going to talk about it at extent, I think Pierce Brosnan made a great Bond, just not the movies he had.
He is what I picture when I picture Bond.
Well, funny you should say that.
Okay.
Because I do have here a description of what Bond looks like according to Ian Fleming, the creator of Bond.
Ooh, let's hear it.
So, first of all, I wanted to say that he got the name James Bond from an ornithologist, a bird studier.
What?
He said, I'll quote Ian Fleming here. When I wrote the first one in 1953, I wanted Bond to be extremely dull. I wanted Bond to be an extremely dull, uninteresting man to whom things happened. I wanted him to be a blunt instrument. When I was casting around for a name, my protagonist, I thought James Bond is the dullest name I've ever heard.
Really?
Huh.
That's what he wanted. He wanted dull name.
Maybe that's why it's okay for him to walk anywhere and they're like, who are you? And being a spy, you think you'd be like, well, I'm Charles,
Bloodthirst.
Charles Bloodthirst. I'm not going to stand out.
Steel McMagnum.
But he's like, oh, me? I'm James Bond, who you've probably been looking for years.
He never uses a code name.
And you're like, man, check out that swagger. But sometimes I'm like, you're a moron.
He is a moron.
You're like the worst spy ever.
But it's funny, though, because if you look, there's actually an image that...
I've got it pulled up right here.
Yeah, he commissioned for the Daily Express comic, but he drew a picture of what he pictured James Bond to look like. I have to say, it looks a lot like Timothy Dalton.
Who has a really boring face, apparently.
But I'll show you that over there. Like the guy on the left is the guy, the ornithologist. He named him after the guy in the middle is the drawing, and then the guy on the right is a celebrity of the time. His name is Hoagie Carmichael.
I have to say that's a pretty boring face,
and that's what he wanted. It's just kind of this bland face.
It's definitely not Sean Connery, who is the manliest man.
Yeah, it's like we want somebody boring. Sean Connery. Yep, that's it.
Yeah. Well, he was so manly in Darby O'Gill and the Little People. Oh, she is my dear, my darling one, her eyes so sparkling full of fun.
Joel, we know you don't like him better.
I did not give you that word. I didn't say Darby O'Gill.
Oh, she is my dear, my darling one, her eyes so sparkling full of fun.
And have you guys seen the combination of every Bond face?
Oh, it's kind of just a bland generic face.
A bland generic face. Really close Google that, like right? Roger Moore and Sean Connery.
Combined Bond face?
Yes, and you can do the same thing for
combined... Be careful out there, kids.
Let's combine our faces.
It's kind of like a human centipede sort of thing after a while.
But to get descriptive here, because we're talking about images we're looking at, which isn't fair, but if you look up James Bond picture or James Bond drawing, you'll find it. Also, in the novels, specifically in From Russia from Love, Bond's physical description has generally been consistent. Slim build, a 3-inch long, thin vertical scar on his right cheek, which I've never seen a scar. Blue-gray eyes, a cruel mouth, short black hair, a comma of which falls on his forehead. And he's 6 feet tall, about 168 pounds is what this one says.
That's pretty trim.
I want people, when they explain me, maybe my obituary, to say that I had a cruel mouth.
You do.
Your obituary.
You do have a cruel mouth.
Yeah, I'm going to definitely use that.
Shut your cruel mouth. Also, Bond, not a young man. He's in his mid to late 30s.
Well,
I thought he was older than that.
What I would like to know, probably from the listener, is if you've actually read an Ian Fleming novel, like, are they this action-packed? I mean, because, I'll be honest, I watched, like, Dr. No and Goldfinger recently. And
Goldfinger!
I watched Honor Her Majesty's Secret Service.
I don't have one for that.
Okay, I was really hoping you would.
What's the Sheryl Crow one?
Oh, we'll get there. That's another show.
The song, yeah.
Yeah.
Tomorrow never dies. So we listened to all the Bond songs.
The Bond movies were kind of slow to start with, and there was a lot of, like, slow pushing / fist fights that were going on with Sean Connery, and then there was the secret facility.
Karate chop.
But there were a lot of karate chops.
You watch the old Star Wars, and those lightsaber battles are about the same
No, it's true.
caliber.
I want to know if, like, because he had a thin build in the novels, if that was kind of more the thing. It was actual spy work, instead of, like, you watch a Brosnan Bond, and he's on hovercrafts, he's snowboarding down a hill.
I did see it was a video recently where they were comparing Casino Royale, the book, to Casino Royale, the Daniel Craig movie, and they said it's one of the most faithful adaptations of a Fleming novel was Casino Royale. So I found that interesting.
Well, it's all relative, though.
It is.
I mean, like, 5 pages are the same, also, as opposed to everything else where nothing is.
More than
Pop quiz, hot shots. James Bond's birthday, 11th of November, 1920, or 21, depending if you're talking. But
all right,
11th of November.
That's pretty soon.
We're airing this episode right before his birthday.
Yeah.
Happy birthday, James Bond.
Who played the lead character in the original Casino Royale?
Wasn't that like Woody Allen or something like that? Or no? Oh,
you got it.
Is it Woody Allen?
No, you're close.
Oh, who is it? I can't remember.
Peter Sellers.
That's right. Oh, yeah. I forgot about that.
And they try to make James Bond American to start with. Actually,
really,
his name was Jimmy Bond.
If they ever made,
no, quite literally, it was Jimmy Bond, and everyone hated it.
Hiya, I'm Jimmy Bond.
Well, it's like a typical, like, I'm Jimmy Bond.
I'm gonna shoot you, Mister. But I do feel like
That's going to be in the reboot.
It might be.
Well, they did have
James Bond Jr.
I was just about to sing that. He got the trade from his Uncle James. Something like that.
Wait, he's James Bond Jr. and his uncle? Oh, no, what's happened here?
I don't know. But
Family friendly.
Man, how long was that cartoon on? I never really watched it.
Half a season?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
But if they ever tried to make James Bond American, that would be problematic. That'd be like making Doctor Who American. You just can't do it.
It's a little strange because we're going to go into this, but the Brits they cling so tightly to James Bond.
Which
like
is
they
unfair because we gave them Superman, we gave them Batman, we're giving all of our prime American roles to Brits. Why can't the Brits give us an American, or let us have an American in there?
Oh man, could you imagine the firestorm that would happen if there was an American cast? Oh, no, it would be the worst.
Next cast, Johnny Depp.
Because I remember when Pierce Brosnan was cast.
Jaden Smith as James Bond.
No.
Oh, sorry.
I would actually
spoiled my
movies
pitch for later.
like 3 years.
I spoiled my pitch for later. I'm sorry.
You would. Why do you always bring up Jaden Smith?
Because I know it bugs you.
It really does. And I have no personal vendetta against Jaden. He's good in Pursuit of Happiness.
He was good in that.
That's it.
Different podcast.
All right.
But no, it's interesting. They announced Pierce Brosnan, and when he came in, oh man, was this him or Craig? Came in on a hovercraft, like a wave runner coming through, and then he's like, "Hey, it's me, the next James Bond," and it was a press conference. And he goes, "Yep, I'm the next guy."
That sounds like a '90s Pierce Brosnan thing.
It might be '90s because then they announced Daniel, and everyone's really happy. So like finally, because I will say that Pierce Brosnan was probably the biggest star to ever get the role, because they always go for an actor who is semi-recognizable.
Yeah,
like even Sean Connery back in the day, Roger Moore back in the day were like on the cusp, but they weren't too big for the role. Whereas Pierce Brosnan, he was like hand-picked. He was handcrafted for James Bond.
Well, and it's funny too because I mean, Bonds have been consistently made every year or two since 1962.
Yeah,
except for
the hiatus.
Yeah, and that's what's
Timothy
the funny
Dalton hiatus.
After License to Kill in 1989. They didn't have another movie until 1995, which that span of 6 years is one of the largest in the franchise.
But when Daniel Craig was announced, everyone's like, "Who's this ugly blonde guy?"
Yeah.
And the Brits were not very pleased.
They called him James Blonde.
And it's like those dry Brits. Their humor.
Which I actually, confession, I used to play James Blonde with my cousins when we were younger because I was a blonde kid. And so I'd be James Blonde.
You really were?
008. Because 8's my lucky number.
They just give like a semi-similar name.
Yeah, it was.
If you're a 00 agent,
we'd play, just play spy in my basement, in my grandparents' basement and stuff like that. So,
speaking of blondes, the Bond girl, what's her name, Joel? The young one.
I can't remember. her name. That's it.
She's the first blonde Bond girl.
That can't be true.
No, I heard it in the Today Show. They were talking with her about it.
Sounds like a Jacob story.
As in a true story? Yes, that's what it is.
What are you talking about?
She's the first blonde, they said.
No, she's not.
Is that? That's not true.
Dude, I watched Goldfinger.
Goldfinger.
I watched Goldfinger the other day.
Well, then they're lying on the Today Show.
And in Dr. No, there was a blonde as well.
Yeah.
Are they talking natural blonde?
Maybe. Maybe so. Maybe. I don't know.
But that's like weird trivia.
No, because she was even being like, yeah, I call myself the blonde girl instead of Bond girl. Like that was the same joke she used on the show.
This is made up. Today's show's full of it.
I was really shocked by that. I was like, seriously?
Yeah, that's just not true.
Okay, just for purely research sake, I'm going to go after the show and just look at pictures of all the Bond girls.
I'm doing it right now.
Just for research, just to be sure.
Yeah, good idea. Good idea. We'll support you.
Although that means I'd have to look at Jinx and Dr. Christmas, and that just bothers me.
Jinx wasn't the worst.
She's pretty bad.
Halle Berry's okay.
No.
She's fine to look at.
Well,
as a Bond girl, she's terrible.
No, can we just say Halle Berry's fine to look at?
Denise Richards is nice to look at too. It doesn't make it any more tolerable when they're terrible in their acting.
Yeah.
I was writing my review and I had to stop myself because I'm like, Léa Seydoux is one of the worst Bond girls in recent memory. I'm like, and I thought of
Christmas.
I thought of every Bond girl after Tomorrow Never Dies.
Yeah,
and I got a little sad.
Yeah, you should be.
But Bond girls are a different show, different story.
Yeah.
Different story.
In fact, let's transition into our pitches.
Before we do, I do want to talk about heritage a bit.
All right.
Because James Bond, do you guys want to know where he's from?
No.
Wales.
He's actually...
California.
A cabin called Skyfall.
Let the sky fall.
Yeah, we know that. He had a brother.
So James
Turned
Bond,
out he was evil.
Here's his heritage, everybody. So you guessed Wales, you guessed Skyfall.
Yeah.
Los Angeles, that was mine.
He's actually born in Germany.
Really?
James Bond was born in Germany to a Scottish father, Andrew Bond, and a Swiss mother, Monique Delacroix. And they were killed in a mountain climbing accident in Angeles Rouge. I don't know how to say that. When he was 11 years old.
With a name like that, I feel like his mom is going to eventually be the villain of a Bond movie.
Sound like that.
Monique
Apparently,
Delacroix.
after he was orphaned, he went to live with his aunt, Miss Chairman Bond, in a village called Pet Bottom?
No,
That can't
that's
be
not
right.
true. That's not true. I saw
Pet
Spectre,
Bottom?
and that didn't happen.
Inspector?
Yeah,
that's
they-
true. But that's just kind of funny to me that he is Scottish. Well, he's Scottish and Swiss and German all at the same time. Kind of interesting. Anyway, I just wanted to bring that up.
Yeah, that's interesting.
So he's just really, really white.
Yeah, why does he love England so much?
Because that's where I think his aunt, Miss Chairman Bond brought him up. And
I love the fervor that happens whenever they pick a character to
The
take
urban
over
fervor?
a franchise. Why every time? Why do I say fervor so much?
urban fervor.
Fervor.
I just love it when people go into hysteria over who's going to play a character. Like Doctor Who, I love it when they're like, they may announce it in the next week.
Great.
And I'm like, who's it going to be? Who's it going to be?
Yeah, Blake-
someone I kind of don't really know.
Blake just turned off the podcast.
Okay, sorry guys, I'll cut that out. or just like every time they name a Bond, for example, when Craig was going to be announced, they're
Yeah.
like,
There's tons of hype.
obviously, it's Clive Owen. Like
Yeah,
Clive
like-
Owen is the next Pierce Brosnan.
Like, are you
looks
crazy?
like James Bond.
You know, he's
I'm still surprised it's not him.
a little bit thicker. He's a little bit older.
Yeah.
You know, he's not what I picture when I think of like a lean Bond, but he has.
But he looks like Bond.
the
Although
look.
he's 51 years old now.
Although he did play James Bond-esque in the Pink Panther 2, which I'm sorry to say I have seen.
Well, he was in
you don't have to confess to me.
what was the one with Julia Roberts? He was in that.
Oh, Duplicity?
Yeah, Duplicity. That was a spy movie.
That was terrible.
I hate that movie.
I prefer like when he was in those BMW films, Driver. I loved those.
You let me borrow that. I still haven't watched it.
You jerk.
I know, sorry.
You have all my DVDs.
Like 2.
All right, can we go to our pitches?
Not yet.
Well, no, let's go to the... Are we
But I'm
doing...
just saying, there's some people who are like a given. For example, now I think one person that has to be mentioned in the pitches is Idris Elba.
Well, we're getting. You said not yet, and then you start talking about the pitches.
No, he said he wanted... He was already into it.
I'm almost saying we could leave this out of our pitches because he is like the next obvious guy, unless you've picked him.
he's not the next obvious guy.
He has... The problem is they have such a push for him to be it, they're not listening to any
They'll
reason.
never do it. Yeah.
If you say, well, I don't think he'd be Bond because of this, that, they're like, no, how dare you? How dare you? And
Yeah.
that gets on my nerves a little bit. I didn't choose him.
But it is time for Bond to have a little bit of diversity. And I think Idris Elba would be the guy.
First female Bond, is that what you're pushing for?
If it needs
Jada
be,
Pinkett Smith as
honestly, I think they could tell another... and
Willow. It's
this is-
Willow Smith as James Bond.
Oh, man.
It's with the Smith family.
I meant to say Willow
Hey,
first. And I
it's
said
just
Jada
Will
Pinkett first.
Smith.
Whip or let die for Will Smith. Am I right?
I whip my gun back and forth.
So stupid.
It is.
Getting jiggy with it.
Why do you always have to bring up Smith references?
I don't know. Because it bugs you.
All right, Jake, we can move on to the pitches. I'm sorry for delaying. I just love the
You
history.
didn't delay. You're talking about the pitches already. You're
Well,
like, no, let's not talk
We
about
need
him.
to clarify.
Let's talk about how Luther is the obvious choice
No.
for Bond.
We need to discuss, first of all, these aren't the pitches. We have a pitch for a new Bond movie, but we also have these suggestions for future Bonds.
Do you guys have a preference on the order here?
Let's go with
Let's do
suggestions first,
suggestions
because I'm waiting to
All right.
unleash my pitch.
Kent, start with a suggestion.
All right.
Idris Elba.
Well, okay, Idris Elba. Honestly, I didn't add him because
Okay, he's not on either person's list,
No.
obviously.
he's obviously
So,
he's my number one choice because Luther is fantastic. I would love to see.
Okay.
I would love. Oh my gosh, he's
that's a different
great.
show.
Yeah,
We will devour
I would
you.
love to see his take on Bond because you don't want to mess with him. No big brawny Bautista is going to want to take on Idris Elba.
But he's not the suave gentleman spy.
But I will say,
Yeah.
oh, you sound like the guy who said he's too street.
Thanks for putting words in my mouth,
I
Ken.
know, that's what I'm here for. But at the same time, I don't know if we're going to change the style into a little bit more fun. Idris Elba can do that.
No, he
I
would
think
bring
it
it back to
yeah.
that gritty reality.
which I'm
would have
generally
to
okay
be
with,
more
but there
gritty.
needs to
And
be
then
some
he'd have to
balance.
bring his big old sword with him that he stands by the Rainbow Bridge and stares off into
All
the
right, Ken.
distance.
Oh, in Mario Kart?
Yes, exactly.
All right, Kent. So Christopher Nolan is directing the next James Bond, starring Idris Elba. Are you excited?
Honestly, I would be so
No,
excited.
if it was Christopher Nolan directing Jaden Smith in James Bond, Kent would be like, okay, I'll see this. I'll give it a shot.
I wouldn't know what to do with myself. I would be so conflicted.
He'd just be standing outside the theater with money in his hand going,
I have a ticket, but I don't know if I can see it.
He would just break this bottle and then slash his own wrist, probably.
Oh, jeez.
It's got dark.
All right, so
Give us your first one.
my number 3 pick, and I know he's busy with other stuff.
So these are in order. You're going 3, 2, 1.
I'm going 3, 2, 1.
okay.
So I'm going to go 3, you go 3. My number 3 pick, because he's probably the most handsome man on the planet.
I'm so nervous right now, and I don't know why.
It's me, isn't it?
It's not Jake Gyllenhaal. It's Henry Cavill.
Oh, Henry Cavill.
No, he can't do it because of Man from U.N.C.L.E.
And Man of Steel.
Man from U.N.C.L.E., sadly, it's a really good movie, but will not get a sequel.
Is that for sure now?
I'm pretty sure.
Well, it doesn't matter. He's already played a spy role. Like, they're not going to pick him up now.
Well, that's what, I mean, Pierce Brosnan had the same thing.
yeah,
but
there's
that's
no
on a much
reason not
smaller
to.
scale.
I think if by the time he gets Bond, his role in Man from U.N.C.L.E. will be sadly forgotten. And he'll be a British guy, whereas he played an American spy in this one. I think it's okay. I do think that he would be juggling franchises if this DC thing continues, but I think it's okay, and I think he would... Man, could you imagine him in those 2 giant franchises?
He's a little too bulky for Bond.
yeah, I'm not into him.
Dude.
Joel, let's hear yours.
Could any woman resist him?
Yes,
Well, you can't speak for women.
I just did.
Have you seen his abs in
Jacob
Man of
speaks
Steel?
for all women. Abs. Anything else you want to talk about Henry Cavill?
I mean, I had a lot of choices, and I went
Besides
with the
that, you're in
easy
love
one.
with him.
Apparently.
Or Richard Armitage he's my honorable mention from
Okay.
Hobbit. Anyways, go ahead.
Okay, I'll go. I didn't really go 3, 2, 1 in the
Well,
most
pick-
of the difference,
pick your
but I'll
least
do one.
likely.
So I went with actually a Scottish choice. Considering that he had a Scottish father, I went with a Scottish choice, and I was looking at a bunch of different Scottish actors, and James McAvoy was my Scottish choice. I feel like he's shorter than Bond should be. He's only 5'7". Bond is 6 feet tall.
He's also a little whiny, isn't he?
But with CGI and fancy camera tricks, that shouldn't be a problem. Anyway, if Tom Cruise can be a leading man, so can James McAvoy.
That's it's saying a lot, actually.
It is.
That's saying a
stretch.
lot. Like Tom Cruise
I'm saying
has
that
star power. McAvoy is like, he's a really good actor.
I think he could be a James Bond.
He just wants to be.
He can be
Dr.
suave.
Frankenstein.
I've seen him in different roles, and he sometimes he plays the manic, sometimes he plays the very in control person. I think he could be a suave gentleman spy. If we want to go more a weathered Scottish Bond, this is still in the same. These are honorable mentions in that one. Scottish choices. We could always go with another Scot, Ewan McGregor. He's a little bit older. I think he'd be a great choice.
I would love Ewan McGregor as James Bond. I would love it.
I think,
But I think he's too big for the role.
you think he's fat? Is that what you're saying? How dare you?
I don't judge people that way, but I'm saying, he's been an actor for a long, long time. It would more just be like, hey, I want to do this as a hobby for Ewan McGregor.
Yeah.
It's like, I'd want to try this out just for fun.
already got
No one,
Star
I don't
Wars
think,
money
would
in his
be
pocket.
excited about him doing it. It's like,
I would.
oh, yeah, that guy.
I like Ewan
No,
McGregor.
I would be excited.
It's been
I
around
love him
forever.
as an actor.
I also put Gerard Butler as a weathered Scot on there because he could be the scar on the face Bond. Hard falling on hard times Bond.
We've already got.
And then David
London
Tennant
is
just because
fallen.
he's
Okay,
awesome.
Okay, these are.
fallen.
I
are
love
all
you guys.
Scottish
These are
choices.
terrible choices. What's your number 2?
My number 2.
It's a good thing we don't respect your opinion, Jacob. Otherwise, we'd be hurt.
Let me turn this mic down again. My number 2, his name is Sam Claflin. He plays
Who's that?
Finnick in the Hunger Games movies.
Oh.
He's the guy with the net, the really cocky one.
Oh, should I say, oh.
Oh, well, you can say that about all
The guy
of
with the
them.
net?
Yeah, Sam. Let me show you a picture.
He's from District 2. Is that too nerdy?
You guys know this way too well.
Is he from
So-
District 2? No, I got to look.
No, I think he's from District 4.
Take it.
Sam Claflin right there.
Oh, yeah,
everyone,
that guy.
everyone Google a picture of Sam Claflin. He's also in the most recent Pirates of the Caribbean movie in a small role. He's just
a twerp. He looks like a
he is
twerp.
District 4. Dang it.
He's not a twerp at all. He's probably like the right age for like a new Bond.
What's
I'm not
his name
saying
again?
Sam Claflin. I'm not
How do
saying
you spell Claflin?
Claflin.
That's made up.
So it's interesting that Bond is typically in his 40s, but I think if you're going to pick an actor well into his 40s, you're only going to get about 3 movies out of him. And I'm thinking for longevity, they could pick someone like this, and it would be a reinvention.
Yeah, I got a picture of him in a tux, and he looks like a goofball.
He's a
It's
goofball.
because he's doing a goofy
Remember
smile.
Twerp?
Yeah.
Yeah. Joel sees it.
You're harsh now that we can hear you. Have you always been this way?
I have. You didn't know. Joel, let's hear your number 2. Hopefully it's better than Ken's. Not like that'll take much.
You were like just barely hating on every one of his choices.
Yeah, he hates everyone. I guess my number 2 would be Tom Hiddleston. I think he matches the look of James Bond, and I think he's played a villain so well. I would love to see him play a hero type, and that would also add an extra element to him because you're like,
Is he kind of
he's kind
skinny
on the
though?
edge. Slim build. That's what I'm saying. That's what Bond is.
But he's even like long faced.
Then maybe Bond is too, according to this picture I'm looking at right here.
Tom Hiddleston is great, but he's way too lean.
So's your face.
Thank you. I've been working out a little bit. You know, he's
slim build. I'm going with book Bond.
He's
here.
a great Bond villain.
He looks like an anorexic victim.
I think you guys are just used to the beefed up, bulky action stars.
You know what I mean? Some guy that could throw a punch
you guys
or
want,
chase people?
Okay, here we go. You guys both
He
want...
looks like he'd get winded.
You guys both want...
He's chasing the guy on stilts.
Yeah.
Okay, you guys
come
can go
back
watch
here.
you can go watch your Channing Tatum Bond films, okay? You can watch your Rock Bond films. I'm going with the book Bond, which is the slim build, 6 feet tall,
But
dark
it's
hair.
never been that. George Lazenby closest.
I want to go
Even
to-
Roger Moore was kind of beefed
I want to
up.
go back to that. I want to go back to the slim
Back to the
build Bond.
guy who's in it for one movie.
To the guy that looks like a spy and not a brawler.
I don't know. I think
A guy who has to use his wits and gadgets and weapons instead of just beating up
But you said
everybody.
Pierce Brosnan is the closest one.
I'm
Like that's
sorry,
who
I
you
said it's
picture.
my favorite one.
You're playing way too hipster on this. Like just because you did some book research.
Whoa!
No, you're like I want to.
Hold on. I want to clock this as the moment that Kent called me a hipster.
That is pretty funny.
Hello, pot. I'm kettle.
No, it's just funny because you're like, hey, but in the books he's mentioned as very lean. It's never been that way
It's
in the movies.
consistently in the books. That's his description.
No. Tell me one James Bond book you've read.
Man, I hope you guys' number one
This
choices
is
are
research.
good.
This is
Shut up, Jake.
This is research I've done. I've never read any of the books.
I'm
reading-
sorry. The Bond as we know it from the movies, which is different from the books.
Okay, you can go with your movies.
You mean what
I'll go with the
exists
source.
out there 53 years now?
I'll go with
what
the source.
everyone knows.
Yeah, I'm going. Kent, I'm changing Bond. Okay, I'm going Bond the way it is. Retro
Actually,
Bond.
I'm okay with that because we have pitches coming up. If you want to change Bond,
Yeah.
that's fine. But I'm just saying,
Wait.
what have you got up your sleeve?
He's excited. Ken, let's go to your number one.
No, hold on. I'm not done yet. The
All right,
Bond
keep
as
yelling
we
at
know
Joel.
it needs to have some essence of charm, of swagger. He needs to be.
Tom Hiddleston doesn't have that.
No, not really.
Oh, come on.
No, he has those. He
Ladies
just doesn't
love
look it.
Loki.
He's perfect as Loki is like the skinny scene stealer. And that's about it.
You like him in Crimson Peak.
I did.
Yeah.
But no, still he's like this gaunt, like, I'm basically a ghost sort of guy.
Yeah, he is. He's a ghost.
He's a suave character.
He's a suave ghost.
No,
You know, Ken, I
what
think-
woman?
I
What
think you're
woman
putting
seeing
more-
him at playing poker? Like, for example, when you see Sean Connery in Doctor No, he's sitting there and like every woman is just staring at him because he's just sitting there.
Ladies,
And
let Kent know how wrong he is about Tom Hiddleston.
Okay, fangirls, I know I'm wrong about this one, but ladies, I think they want someone that's a little bit more
I want to point out
attractive.
for the record, I think Kent's put more effort in debunking my choices than doing research on his.
No kidding.
He's like, Henry Cavill.
Whose side are you on? You're against us. and
Quick
then you're
impression.
like-
It goes. Kent's like, Henry Cavill. Not a bad choice. That could work. Okay, I choose Jay McAvoy. Are you kidding me? Let me list all the reasons why not.
And here's Joel. Wikipedia. Okay, that book is about this. That's a paragraph talking about how skinny he is. Yep. Okay.
Do you want to
Truth?
I'll read the description again if you want.
No, we're good. My number one
Slim
choice.
bills,
Let's go. I wanna
scar
hear
on
number
red
one.
cheek, bluegrass,
Hey.
cruel mouth, short black hair, comma,
Joel,
which falls over.
Jake wants to hate on my
6
number
foot
one
tall,
choice. So we could
168
Ken's,
pounds.
Ken's nervous about my response to
I just
number
want to
one.
get this over with so that Jake can be like, that's terrible. Why did we even record today?
Is it another terrible choice? Gosh, I hope not.
I think it's great.
Okay, let's hear your great choice.
My great choice is Aidan Turner.
See, you're just making up names now. Kent's like,
Aiden Turner. Is that
Kent's
the,
going, I'm going to pull this random actor out of the air and be like, yeah, sure.
I'm sorry. I want every fangirl listening, the one listener,
Yes.
to look up Aidan Turner and be like, oh, yeah, that was Keeley from The Hobbit. That's Poldark. He's from Being Human,
No,
the British
None of
series.
these sense.
Kent-
None of
Kent-
these words make any sense, Kent. That guy?
No, Ken, I'm with you.
He looks like a hobbit. You want a hobbit playing James Bond?
He's got it where it counts.
No.
What does
Oh,
that mean?
my gosh. You can touch it.
Don't quote Spectre
Aidan
out of
Turner?
context.
Like, I've seen him in many roles, and he just has the weight to play James Bond.
No, you're right.
He's young enough that he'd have the longevity, and
Yay! Ken made a good choice.
Yay, thanks, Jake.
Yay!
I don't need Jake's approval.
I'm going to stop there just so I don't ruin Jake's approval right now.
Well, then Jake's not going to like my number one, and neither are you because
Hold
I
on,
went.
Can I guess?
Yes, guess.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Well, it's either Benedict Cumberbatch. It's got to be really
Oh,
skinny.
gosh.
Hold on. Doug Jones, who played the Pale Man from
He's not,
Pan's
he's not
Labyrinth.
British, is he?
No, he's not. But I'm saying, let's see. Oh, William H. Macy.
I'd watch that.
I would too.
It'd have to be a Coen Brothers Brady Bond movie, though. Okay, so slim build. This is my guy here. Slim build, check. 6 feet tall, check. Dark hair, check. Cold eyes, check. Cruel mouth, check. Mid to late 30s, check.
You know, we can't do this with you. We don't know who it is.
Looks like I'm just saying, looks like an ornithologist, check. Oh, that is Benedict Cumberbatch.
Oh.
As James Bond.
Oh, I'm so disappointed.
That's your number one? It is your number one?
So incredibly disappointed in you now.
Wait, let me check the Ikera meter. Oh, I'm sorry.
He did need to come up. He really needed to come up.
He would be a great Bond villain. The guy has the worst face on the planet.
James
That's a great
Bond.
thing.
Look at that and tell me you cannot see Benedict Cumberbatch in that face.
I
Do you
can't,
like how
because
they're
he's
like-
ugly.
Okay, I'm going to stop being like, Joel's going off the book, because that's clearly what he's doing. He's going off something that hasn't been seen on film before.
Well, you maybe go...
Honestly, Joel,
don't give me your patronizing applause.
get on your suspenders and let's listen to indie emo.
Let's
Well,
geek out.
Ken, you put me in an awkward position because you're like, here's my third second of first.
Story
And I
of
was
their
like,
lives.
I'm going with looking like James Bond, and then I'm going with heritage of James
Yeah.
Bond.
Honestly, I've liked most of your choices. I'm really disappointed you said the obvious. Benedict Cumberbatch is a big star.
Is there
He would
anybody
never
else
do it.
obvious
This is
we're not
exactly
talking
like
about?
this is like the movie previews when I like give the mainstream movies, and Kent's like, let me show you this one you've never even heard of.
Krampus.
Yeah. First time Jake and I have ever given a high five on this show.
Oh, God.
Krampus, thank you so much, sir.
So, and I really, truthfully, I think they're going to pick an unknown because historically it's what they've done.
Mostly unknown.
But when I was looking for the actors that were doing it, I was looking for people who would fit the description given by Ian Fleming. That was my purpose.
I mean, okay, all due respect to Benedict Cumberbatch, because we all enjoy watching him on Sherlock, but could he be Sherlock? Could he be James Bond?
He could be James Bond.
Could he be in a Marvel universe?
No, look. It's not whether he could. He could do it. He's a fantastic actor. He could do it. Should he do it?
He's the listener of the show, guys, so be nice to
So,
him.
Joel, should he do it, though?
I think he could be James Bond.
No, like, would you like that, though?
I think it would stop his career, actually, because, as Daniel Craig has mentioned, it takes almost a year to film each movie. And they come
Yeah.
out every 2.5 to 3 years.
Yeah, it's just all you would do.
His trajectory is just upward right now. James Bond would make it level.
And I don't think he'll be chosen because of that, but I think he could fit the role.
Yeah, he needs to be a Marvel villain or
I
something.
think he could fit the vision that Ian Fleming had when he created
Cumberbatch?
James Bond.
He's Doctor Strange.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
So, there you go.
Anyway.
All right, well, that was pretty fun.
Yeah, that was fun.
I feel like I need to hug it out with both of you guys.
I feel like I've been attacked the entire time when I'm like, hey, this will be fun to pitch it. And you guys are like, what a terrible choice, you horrible person who needs to die.
And can I be honest?
No.
Like 2 seconds before I gave my pitches, I'm like, James Bond needs to be about diversity. Here's a bunch of white guys.
That's true.
White British guys.
true.
Did you even go anywhere but England?
Aidan Turner is actually Scottish.
Okay.
And I went UK. I went full UK on it.
Well,
though.
you have to go UK.
Yeah.
I mean,
Otherwise, there would
yeah.
be an uproar.
Yes.
All right, Kent, let's hear your pitch.
I want Joel to go first.
No, you need to go
No,
first.
Joel's the finale on the pitch.
You need to go first.
You see, I'm really nervous about giving my pitch because it's pretty silly.
Well, here's the thing.
What?
I'm not going to rip you apart, Kent.
You going to be respectful?
I will.
I know you will. That's how
No,
you've been.
just kidding. I'll be nice.
Okay.
Just kidding. I'll be mean.
So my pitch is a little meta, and it would kind of destroy the Bond franchise as we know it, which I don't think that's why it will never be made. But I want to see it happen.
Austin Powers 5.
It's directed by Duncan Jones.
Who has directed Moon?
Source Code, and the upcoming World of Warcraft. I was thinking of Denis Villeneuve, who directed Prisoners.
Wow, he's going full hipster now.
Prisoners and Sicario.
Yeah.
But he's so dark that I don't want my Bonds to be dark. I want Duncan Jones.
Bond.
Duncan Jones.
I want Duncan Jones to have a little bit of levity to the situation, because I think Source Code
Like Sam
balanced
Smith.
it really well. Levity. I mean, do you want to wrap up now? Because I feel like that's what you're trying.
All right, so
my
Duncan
Bond-
Jones is directing.
My
let's hear the
Bond.
story.
You want to give a title first? Do you want to give a
Well,
pitch
my Bond
first?
is played by Aidan Turner. The
Okay.
Bond girl, one girl. We don't need a girl on the side and then meet another girl.
Every Bond has like two girls.
I know, but it's an old trope at this
There's
point.
a femme fatale, and then there's the girlfriend.
Alice Eve plays my Bond girl.
I'm okay with that.
Yes, I know you would be.
Okay, remind us who Alice Eve is.
Star Trek?
Star Trek Into Darkness.
Oh, that
She's
girl.
British. The movie is called Tabula Rasa,
Blank Slate.
Blank Slate.
That's a great X-Files episode.
Okay, so,
All right.
and I'm going to explain the plot and then kind of get into the nitty-gritty.
All right, let's hear this meta plot.
The movie opens. James Bond, played by Daniel Craig.
Oh, he's back, is he?
this is his final movie because he breaks into a British subway station and there is a hostage situation. There's barricades set up. And so the intro is him sneaking in, trying to stop this because, well, he can, and he's in the area. So they're dealing with the hostage situation. He infiltrates, and he takes out every terrorist easily. These guys are just amateurs. Just as he calls it in and says, "We're clear," he has his back to all the prisoners. He gets stabbed in the back by one of the prisoners. Stabbed and killed.
Daniel Craig is dead.
Yes.
You're going to kill Bond just like that?
I like it so far.
Okay. We're then introduced to Aidan Turner's character,
The next 007.
who doesn't have a name. Well, he has a name, but we're not going to mention it on purpose. So he spent a few years working MI5. He comes home after a long day of work and is kidnapped. And so he's taken in a car and everything. When the hood is taken off, he ends up in a dingy apartment with M and Q, Ray Fiennes and Ben Whishaw. Okay?
Okay.
So, it's tying together this Bond that we know now with what's going to come.
Zombie Bond?
What? No.
Zombie Bond?
No Zombie Bond.
Oh.
Bond
no.
takes on zombies.
That's like a straight to sci-fi movie. Zombie spy. Okay. So M gives the exposition and he just says, "Hey, kind of like Spectre, MI5 or the 00 program is kind of being done away with."
Okay.
And so is everyone there. Everyone that we've worked with, we're actually being sought after right now. And many people, okay, he talks about former 00 agents who have all previously died in the line of duty. And he says, "I need to show you something." He takes him down this hallway, and there are statues of every man that's ever been 007 James Bond.
Every man? Even Peter Sellers?
Maybe it's an Easter egg. I think it would show something like a bust or something like that. But he walks down this hallway.
His face is all like spray painted, and we're like, "Yeah, don't worry about it."
Hold on, follow me here. This is where the audience is like, going like, "What in the heck is happening with the movie? You just killed Daniel Craig." Who, by the way, Daniel Craig is in every trailer. There's no mention of this other guy.
Okay, so it's like an executive decision kind of thing.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
And so all of a sudden you're taking down the hallway, and this is where you're like, "Wait a minute!" And you see Sean Connery statue. You see Roger Moore.
This feels like
George
Cabin in the
Lazenby.
Woods of James Bond.
A little bit.
I
Okay?
like it.
All right.
And you see everyone. And underneath their statues, they've each come in just, whenever, and marked times I saved the world. And they have scratches or how many women I've been with. And other scratches.
How many women they've hugged?
How many women they've hugged.
They're family friendly.
And it's kind of like a little gloating thing until eventually they were taken out of commission, basically sent to live off on an island, but reportedly killed, right?
Okay.
But now the 007, the 00 program, MI6, everyone's being wiped out. I'm sorry, this is taking a long time for anyone listening, but...
Is this the running time of the movie? Is that what we're going with? Real time?
yeah, speed it up a little bit.
Okay.
Interior.
I'm into it, but speed it
night.
up.
So the title James Bond 007, the reason he's never cared about giving it, because it's not actually his real name. 007 James Bond is a title that's been passed on for tradition.
Oh my gosh.
And so MI6 really, I know, wouldn't this just kill the series?
Well, you'll see.
Okay. So it seems, okay, we'll see. So MI6 no longer serves a country. And that's why M and Q are like, we got to do something else. Just when the building is attacked, M was followed. So they're all, surrounded, facing certain death.
Chapter 2.
They're saved by a mysterious man. And then, they're taken somewhere in the dark to a mysterious or a small island off the coast of Wales. The man reveals himself to be
Zorro.
To be
Sean Connery. Yeah.
Sean Connery comes out.
I'm back.
Sean Connery comes out of retirement for this movie, obviously aged, but he says, "Look, we are all reportedly killed, but some of us got away.
I am the last one.
Some of us faked our own death." And they seek who's behind the recent Bond killings, and they form a new Majesty Secret Service.
I love this movie.
An alliance of Bonds.
So, okay. It's an alliance of 00 agents, because the 00 agent thing, are there like 012, 013? How many 00 agents are there?
How many people who played Bond are still alive?
Roger Moore, Sean Connery, Lazenby.
A lot of
might
them.
still be alive, yeah.
Well, it doesn't matter because he already wrote it in. So the ones that died.
And I'll say at the end, Stinger, Pierce Brosnan comes back as well.
Wait, he wasn't there to start with?
No, he wasn't there to start with.
Oh.
Because they have to be kind of brought back. So basically, Spectre has their own branch of spies, closer to like Ethan Hunt / Bourne. So this will be like new spies. They're tech spies. And they're put in the place of MI6, and they're used to incite unrest in smaller nations. Toby Kebbell will play my villain. He's Koba in Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, and sadly, he's Dr. Doom in the recent Fantastic Four movie. but
They made
he's the
another one, didn't they?
anti-Bond. Because Spectre, in this movie, Spectre, it's a bunch of people sitting around a boardroom.
Yeah.
Now they actually have spies that are better than Bond.
Okay. Any other punchlines for this?
You going to go into the next chapter of the novel you're writing here?
No, seriously. I was like, am I writing fan fiction right now?
You are. You totally are. You are.
I got really into this the other night. And I'm like, I'm nervous. No,
At what point do Em and Moneypenny make out? That's what I want to know.
And I was actually really nervous to tell you guys because I'm like, I really like this story too much to share it.
You posted this in a forum, didn't you?
Maybe.
This isn't. You didn't write this for the show. You just wrote this on your own.
Yeah.
She's been holding on to this for years.
I just think it would be so cool to actually see that scene where they're walking down the hallway and you see every actor to play Bond, because it's really meta. But at the same time, you're like, yeah, it makes sense because there's no way that Bond has lived 60 years, survived that many accidents.
It makes perfect sense.
Remember?
Yeah, but anyways, go ahead.
Yeah.
That is my idea.
I like it.
Wow.
It would kill Bond. Like, people would not be happy.
I wrote a paragraph.
I just greenlit it.
I wrote a paragraph for my pitch. I was doing a very high level. I was doing an elevator pitch. He was doing like a marathon pitch.
Will you please extend your paragraph so that I don't look as bad?
No, after
It's like,
I was gonna say,
that's my pitch.
yeah, pretty much.
Kent.
Wow.
But
All right, let's
Jake's
hear
pretty into it.
Let's hear yours, though, Joel.
Okay, Kent. Are you paying attention?
You know I do this, right?
What?
Like, anytime we do pitches, I go on for like 20 minutes.
It's true.
That's why you're
it's
always
normal.
very
It's
excited to do
normal.
it, and I'm always like, "Are we doing pitches again?"
Kent's like, yes, pitches.
I'll pull what I can from the internet and get.
Did you
yelled
have this
at.
one in mind already when you were like, pitches?
10 years ago, I thought, wouldn't it be cool? Because I always
He
thought
had
James,
a dream about sparkly vampires.
I thought James Bond
Oh.
is basically a Time Lord. Sorry to everyone who just tuned out.
it's fine.
But I was like, has this been around? And everyone just believes that he's been surviving this whole time. It should be different people. Anyways,
Yeah.
Joel?
Are you still going?
Let's
I'm
hear yours.
ready.
Okay, so the new Bond movie, the director, Tim Burton. The title.
Are you kidding? No, you're joking.
The title, A View to the World, is not enough. Here's the plot.
I feel like you're not taking this as seriously as I did.
Wait, are you going to cast them first?
No, I didn't cast. Like I said, I wrote a paragraph.
You don't even have a cast for Bond?
Benedict
Cumberbatch.
Okay.
Well, no, actually, I do have a cast.
You said Patch.
I lied. So here's the
did.
plot. After a particularly stressful mission, James Bond feels like it's time to go home. No, not to Skyfall, but to his home planet of Fleming. Yes, that's right. James Bond is an alien. Not only that, but James Bond isn't a name, it's a title.
Whoa!
The planet Fleming regularly sends down James Bonds to Earth to study women, the effects of alcohol, Earth technology, the weaponry, and the fragility of human life. The program selects the next candidate. The program then selects the next candidate with the standard memory wiping tool so that everyone on Earth accepts him as James Bond, even though he doesn't look or act the same as his predecessors. However, this new James Bond, played by Johnny Depp in pale makeup, doesn't quite fit in with the Earthlings.
I said Johnny Depp earlier.
His quirky alien antics consistently draw attention to him, putting the entire James Bond program in danger, and Planet Fleming itself.
So basically, Mordecai. You're a terrible person.
That was such a downer.
Why don't we end with mine?
That was funny.
He is Tim, and then, Danny Elfman does the music.
Oh,
and
surprise,
it's
surprise.
called- the title song is called "Bonding with Earthlings." It goes, "Bonding with Earthlings, bonding with Earthlings." Ding, 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 ding. Wait, that's the Munsters.
And Fall Out Boy, somehow.
Yeah, somehow.
Wait, how does James Bond go?
Wait.
I can't even think of it right now.
Who plays the Bond girl?
It's probably going to be Helen Bonham Carter.
I hate your freaking guts
Or
right now.
what's her name? Anna Wachowski.
Wachowski.
Oh my gosh, that's a terrible movie.
Do you have a real one?
That's it.
Man, I put my heart into this.
And Joel just basically
I just wanted a needle Kent.
needling,
From the
yeah.
planet
I thought about
Fleming.
Ian Fleming was the author, Ken.
I know this,
Yeah.
but sorry. It's a dumb idea.
I know it's a dumb idea. I pitched it as a dumb idea, but considering what Tim Burton was going to do with Superman, I thought this would make perfect sense.
It would actually be quite aligned
and not
with that.
far from yours, Kent.
No, okay.
James Bond being a title, multiple James Bonds.
So I'm just putting this out
True,
there.
they're not that far
Do you
removed.
guys want to help me write the story and stuff, and then we can.
Release it as fan fiction and hope they pick it up?
I've got things to do. I've got to wash my dog.
Look what E.L. James did with Twilight. She got really rich and famous. We could do
E.L.
this.
James
Yeah.
with Twilight?
50 Shades of Grey.
Oh, come on. No.
I'm just saying you can take another story and change it that much and get rich and famous.
It's true. You can. So
Yeah.
Wow.
Well,
Do we have to end on that?
I enjoyed that, actually. I enjoyed that quite a bit. We got the soulful pitch that honestly kind of worked in Joel's, which was kind of like Tim Burton taking a crap, but
bonding with earthlings.
But it would be black and white spiraled.
no, for sure.
Bonding with earthlings.
You got
Sean
it.
Connery sing that song?
Glad you got
Bonding
it.
with earthlings, bonding with earthlings. I keep wanting to do the Munsters thing. It's ridiculous. There it is.
All right, Kent, well, you win if this was a competition.
Yay!
Well, you win according to Jake. Listener, please let us know if you prefer to,
really think they're gonna pick
if you want to watch
Planet
my fun movie or if you want to watch Kent's 6-hour drama.
Kent's is pretty fun sounding, actually. There's a lot more description.
You know what it sounds like? It sounds like The Day of the Doctor to me, if you'll pardon me saying. It sounds like a bunch of doctors
How many
teaming up.
doctor references are we going to have this episode? This is like
gonna
number
happen.
5.
Well, no, because James
It's
Bond
British.
has...
It's 53 years running.
Yeah, it's because
true. That's
it's
true.
been bandied about because the same character is being played by multiple persons.
We'd like to apologize on the past 2 shows. We've been a little excitable, and so we've been talking over each other. We're trying to keep that to a minimum, but
No, we're not!
it makes for a good show. So I hope you've enjoyed 2 Bond shows in a row.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, and a bacon bit and then a
Yes.
regular episode. And please let us know what you thought of the show either at baconsale.com, on our Facebook page. You can find us there at Baconsale, or at Baconsale on Twitter.
Yep.
You can give us comments there. We love hearing your feedback, and we enjoy hearing from you.
Please go vote on our pitches as well.
The best
Who won?
place to, if you're listening and you haven't followed Baconsale on Facebook, we could use a few more likes.
Oh, yeah.
And
like us on Facebook.
Some more comments, from
It's
you.
amazing how many likes we have
the
with only
listener.
one listener.
I know, it's a little bit strange.
I have
Also
so many different
listens.
catfish accounts, I guess.
I paid for them.
Oh, we should mention our 100,000
Yeah, we
mark.
did. We
Yeah,
did.
we got 100,000 listens.
Yeah, that was very
so
fun.
thank you, listener, for, like we said, hitting play over 100,000 times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We wouldn't be here without you?
Yeah.
We probably would.
But
we
yeah,
wouldn't
let us
have
know
a
what you think.
listener.
Give us rate us and review us on iTunes. We'd love to get the feedback there, and it really helps us out when you give us a rating there because then we appear in more people's feeds.
Yes. And we've now hit 102,000, so let's celebrate again.
Yay! But if you want to get a hold of me, you can catch me at Quick Wits. They perform Saturday nights at the Midville Performing Arts Center at 10 o'clock. You can go to qwcomedy.com, or you can see me on Twitter at 786Joel.
You can find me at Twitter and Instagram at Kenny3DD. If you want to read my recent Spectre review, go to ShowtimeShowdown.com.
Lots of hate in it.
Lots of hate. Hashtag Kent hates. You're not going to try?
Apathetic Kent would be the hashtag for my James Bond review.
All right. And you can find me on Twitter at Jacob A. Rogers. Thank you for listening.
This has been Baconsale, Baconsale, Baconsale.
I hate that you have a mic now.
That's hilarious.
Who the family friendly knows, I don't give a family friendly.
Go ahead and say Sam Smith.
No, I will not say Sam Smith.
How do I know? How do I know? How do I know?
Now go higher.
He's not a spring chicken. He's 47, I believe.
Oh, so in Jake's eyes, he's like ancient.
Exactly.
Yeah, he's ancient.
He's an old.
And he got married in the past, whatever. But
But she didn't count. I haven't been that shocked since I heard you sing Sam Smith.
what a jerk Nazi.
As opposed to all the nice Nazis out there. Oh, she is my dear, my darling one. Her eyes so sparkling, full of fun. Hiya, I'm Jimmy Bond. This is made up. Today's show's full of it.
Yeah, that's interesting.
So he's just really, really white.
Big old sword with him that he stands by the Rainbow Bridge.
Yeah, I'm not into him.
I have a ticket, but I don't know if I can see it. Well, you can't speak for women.
I just did. He's a goofball.
Because he's doing a goofy
Remember
smile.
Twerp?
I want to clock this as the moment that Kent called me a hipster.
He's a ghost.
He's a suave character.
He's a suave ghost.
That guy?
No, Ken, I'm with you.
He looks like a hobbit. You want a hobbit playing James Bond?
He's got it where it counts.
No.
What does that mean?
My gosh. Yay! Ken made a good choice. Yay!
That is Benedict Cumberbatch.
Oh.
What a terrible choice, you horrible person who needs to die. You gonna go into the next chapter of the novel you're writing here?
No, seriously. I was like, am I writing fan fiction right now?
This new James Bond, played by Johnny Depp in pale makeup, bonding with Earthlings. It goes, bonding with Earthlings, bonding with Earthlings. Wait, that's the Munsters.
No, for sure.
Bonding with Earthlings.
I enjoyed that, actually.
Oh, she is my dear, my darling one, her eyes so sparkling full of fun. I'm back!